Okay, welcome to my first ever YouTube recipe cook-along. I am going to make something they call crack slaw or egg roll in a bowl. It's sort of a staple that we use or eat in our family, gosh, maybe at least once a week, because the ingredients I usually have on hand, and it's an evolution of a recipe that I learned in a few different places. If you search just crack slaw on YouTube or egg roll in a bowl, you'll see everyone's different version. Mine is probably the most simple because I'm not a chef and I don't have time. I use ground pork. You can use any ground meat, chicken, or I like chicken better than beef. It's just a taste thing. But the ground pork I like the best. And I also will buy this at Trader Joe's, mostly. I think this came from the market. This is what I would consider the secret to the recipe, is this chili paste, which you can get that kind of egg roll flavor with this. I use a lot of it because I'm not afraid of a little heat. So if you're making this recipe for the first time, maybe use a tablespoon or two, because I'm using 2 pounds of meat. I like squeezed ginger. You can use regular ginger, you can use sushi ginger, whatever. This again is staples I have in my fridge all the time. Soy sauce, again, add it to your liking. If you like a lot of that, salt taste, add more. You can always add, you can never subtract. So I would add a little, taste it, add a little, taste it. And with all of these 3 ingredients. You can also use amino acid for the soy sauce in place of the soy sauce, which would make it gluten-free. Moving on to the slaw part is the cabbage, which I use a mandolin and finely shred it, and I food prep it in my little IKEA food storage. The same with the cilantro. I think this makes it without the cilantro. I don't know. I won't eat it without cilantro. And I get a couple bunches every time I go to the market, and I food prep it. So I can have lunch in a matter of, as long as it takes me to ground the pork. And that gives me, a couple meals, because there's always leftovers. So we're going to ground the beef now, and then I will show you how we add everything in. Okay, so at this point, typically you would drain your ground meat, but we're not going to drain it because the fat part here is going to mix with our sambal and our ginger and make the sauce. So I've added about 2 or 3 tablespoons of the sambal, and the same, about 2 or 3 tablespoons of the ginger. And next we are going to add, so I've added 2 to 3 tablespoons, but you might want to, experiment. You can always add more at any point, but you can't take it away. So be careful in what you add. Okay, next comes the soy sauce, and again, this is to taste. I usually just sprinkle it around. Again, you can always add more. Some people like it salty, so they add more. Okay, so now that everything is in here, we're just going to mix it around. And then we might take a little nibble to see if we want to add more. But, I've been making it so long, and there is a reason they call it crack slaw, because honestly, you will start to crave it. It's weird. Makes a great appetizer. I don't know if I mentioned that already. You could do lettuce wraps. You could add, you could add whatever, water chestnuts. You could add cashews, or you could make them as a garnish for someone to put on it. If you don't want to, if you're doing low carb, but they aren't, then just, let it so that they can add to it. All right, so that's looking pretty good. What I'm going to do next is grab a big old handful of my very thinly, and you can buy it in a bag if you like. I tend to do the fresh and use my mandolin on level 1 to get it just oh so fine. and I will put that in there and mix it on in. So what we're doing now is we are just adding the cabbage until we like the ratio. Do we like a lot of cabbage or do we like the meat? And that's up to you. So I tend to like a lot of cabbage, so I add it in, and it really does cook down. It's like spinach, you know, especially since this is so finely chopped. Chopped, I don't know if that's the right word. It's just fine. I will show you the mandolin that I use because I don't buy it from the bag. I do just get fresh head of lettuce once a week, or cabbage once a week. And I process it so I don't have to shred it all the time. It's ready to go. Here is the mandolin I use. I like it because it goes so fine. It's easy to use. A little difficult using the safeguard that came with it. And so someone recommended just use a, I think it's like a cut, I don't know, I don't know what this is. It's a glove that prevents you from slicing your finger, which I did. I sliced my thumb and it took forever to heal because I literally just took off half my thumbprint. So now when I do the shredding, I use that, and that's my safety tip. Okay, so this is how I make my, I'm not going to do it because this is going to wiggle. Once a week, will process a whole cabbage and I will use it throughout the week. Just like that. So now to finish up, I take a bowl and I add in a layer of the cabbage, raw and cold and crunchy. And then I will spoon over the top the wonderful ground mixture, the slaw. I guess all of it becomes the slaw. And then I will garnish it with a very big heaping of cilantro. And that's it. Enjoy. Oh my goodness, this just tastes so good. You can see I have the extra on the bottom. The juices are just wilting everything. It's so good. And you can adapt it. That's the best thing. And most of the time, as long as you have frozen ground beef or pork or ground meat in your freezer, you probably have most of the ingredients on hand. So enjoy.